According to most of the expert opinions at the beginning of the 1980 season, this was the playoff game that was not supposed to be. The Dallas Cowboys rebuilding in 1980. The Atlanta Falcons just looking for respectability. Well, they are here today.
Witkowski retreats. Goes long, and it is Jenkins, and he's got it at the 22, 15, 10, touchdown.
It seems like they were just more ready to play than what we were as a team. We probably went in there a little overconfident, and it showed.
It was really frustrating because we just couldn't get on track. We just did not execute well or give them credit. They were playing pretty good defense that day.
You know, we were very much so coming out on top and dominating them, and at this point, I'm really thinking about what color metal flake I'm gonna put on my new bass boat.
Nobody panicked. We had a little quiet confidence that, you know, if we're going to get beat, we're going to go down swinging.
Giving it out to Newhouse, and he goes in for the touchdown.
Our team was the best team in football if it was played in a phone booth. If you made it a space game, and that's what they did. They played all the total width, and that wasn't our strength.
We went Republican. We went real conservative late in the game, trying to preserve that lead and quit throwing.
I can remember, you know, when the tide shifted, you know, when you felt the momentum swing. It was a devastating feeling trying to get that thing turned back around when you'd been idling for a while. To take it back up to 9,000 RPMs was kind of tough.
There were a million little things that had to go just right for that whole sequence to take place the way that it did. And the stars were all lined up right for us.
He was a different Danny White. He was commanding, he was demanding. It seemed like he got more vocal. It seemed like he was waiting for this one situation in his career. And now this is my opportunity to put the ghost of Roger Staubach in the closet where it belonged at that time.
Danny back to throw, into the end zone, caught, touchdown! And Roger Staubach, who threw it through so many times, just turned around and said, I don't believe it.
My feeling was, you never know if you're ever going to get back there again. And we missed that opportunity.
It's a great moment in sport when you realize that you've stolen something. When you grasp it, you just ripped it out of somebody and you ripped it out of their heart.
Monster, we got a pull for him. Roger who? Roger who? We got a pull for him.
It was good for Danny. It was good for everybody on offense. It showed that, you know, we didn't need Captain Comeback to still come back.
This is why we the baddest motherfucker in the NFL.
In their first decade of existence, the Atlanta Falcons were among pro football's most endangered species. They languished in the league's lower depths, posting only 2 winning seasons with no playoff appearances.
It was a team sort of in disarray. Never really had the direction from the ownership that, that would mandate the changes be made from one year to the next to try to get better.
But with the hiring of general manager Eddie LeBaron and head coach Lehman Bennett in 1977, the Falcons finally began to take flight. And in 1978, Atlanta parlayed a string of miracle finishes to make the playoffs for the first time in team history.
Everybody's down there. The Saints look like they're there. There's the ball in the air. Jackson touches it. Touchdown, Atlanta. Unbelievable. The Atlanta Falcons have come from behind with 10 seconds to go in the ball game.
It was the biggest 180 I've ever been around in my life, because all of a sudden, you go from a team that's just struggling to get by every week or have a chance to win, to where you actually walked out on the field expecting to win, expecting to dominate somebody.
We've been in the playoffs 78, we failed in 79, we come back in 80, and I think have a grasp that, this is our year. And we were fortunate in that our offensive team, we started the same 11 players, if I'm not mistaken, throughout the entire season. That doesn't happen very often, so we had a good nucleus of an offensive football team.
With a backfield tandem that combined for more than 2,000 rushing yards and a passing attack that dominated the NFC, the Falcons' balanced offense was all but impossible to stop.
We had a team that came back in a number of games during the season. We just believed we were going to win. It's just when you get in that zone a little bit and you get that attitude, you get that belief.
We, went on a stretch there where we won about, 8 or 10 ball games in a row. We didn't have a lot of great athletes. There were not Pro Bowl players on that team. We had a lot of guys who really got after it, guys who had a lot of heart.
Much of that spirit came from the youthful energy of 4 rookie starters on defense.
It was a perfect fit because these guys were young. They covered a lot of ground. By the time we got halfway through the year, we threw this rookie stuff out the window because you didn't question their preparation, you didn't question their effort.
They were the kind of guys that people liked to hail when they walked into a restaurant or a bar. In previous times, they paid little or no attention to them. The Falcon was virtually an unknown soldier around here until that particular season. This was really the first surge of excitement that any Falcon team had ever given this town.
He's looking for Francis. He catches it at the 40. He's going to go all the way. Touchdown!
In Week 15 against the 49ers, the Falcons presented their long-suffering fans with an early Christmas present.
All right, Dave. All right, here we go.
Four-man rush on. Fumble. They're going after the ball. Richardson has fallen on it in the end zone. Falcons have scored again. What a joyous moment it is in Atlanta, Georgia, as the Falcons are nearing their first ever NFC Division Championship.
It has been a while. Yep. I guess they think we're for real now, huh? They've got to.
I'll tell you, I just want to say congratulations to you, and I'm so very, very proud. Hey, it didn't come easy. We paid a tremendous price, or you people paid the price, and you're rewarded for it today, and we're a step closer to what we all want.
What the Falcons wanted, the Dallas Cowboys already had. During the 1970s, they had made 5 Super Bowl appearances. But now America's team would have to carry on without Captain Comeback.
The system was successful before me. It'll be successful without me. I appreciate my teammates through the years because I'm one that's been successful in this system. It's been a lot of good ones. And there'll be many more good ones.
Dallas entered the 80s with a new leader at quarterback, team punter and bench warmer turned starter, Danny White.
Going into the season, the mood was, the king is dead, long live the king. We had a new king that was getting ready to step in there that was capable of doing it, and he had proved himself as a backup, and we were ready to see whether he could be as successful as Roger was.
His first year Danny took over after Roger left. His statistics were even better than Roger's was, which showed, the quality of a Danny White. I tell you, Danny could do it all. He knew when to win. He knew how to win, and that's the important thing about a football player.
His coach and teammates were quick to embrace the new quarterback, but many of the fans did not.
He's not the pressure quarterback that Roger was.
Roger's a legend. Danny will never be like that.
The quality in the clutch, I just don't think he has it.
There were a lot of people that would never buy into the fact that somebody else could lead the Dallas Cowboys besides Roger Staubach.
I think Roger Staubach's a great quarterback, and I miss him.
It takes a very special person to handle that kind of situation. I don't think there's anybody else could have handled it any better than Danny White.
Under White, the Cowboys' offense was as explosive as ever. But points were coming almost as quickly against a rebuilding Dallas defense that no longer ranked among the NFL's elite.
That year was a lot of questions. I don't think we felt the swagger that we had in 77, 78.
The defense was a little weak as far as statistics go. We'd lost Cliff Harris at the free safety position, and we were a little weak at the cornerback spot. But we anticipated a successful year because we had a great cast of folks coming back, big-name players that performed in big games.
The plain truth, however, was that most of those big-name players were on offense. Dallas won a dozen games in 1980 thanks to a multi-talented attack that set a franchise single-season scoring record.
I don't know that I could have handpicked a better team to break in with because it took a lot of the pressure off of me. Great receivers, guys who made plays, and then, you know, when all else fails, turn around and give it to Tony Dorsett or Robert Newhouse. You know, how can a quarterback screw that up?
Dallas entered the playoffs as a wild card, so they were forced to play an extra game. But thanks to a record-setting day from Tony Dorsett, their opponents never had a chance.
I've had a lot of success playing against the Rams. For whatever reason it is, I don't know. It's obviously our game plan. Coach Landry would always put together a pretty good game plan for us.
Dallas established a team record for most yardage in a playoff game while earning Tom Landry his 200th career coaching victory. Now it was on to Georgia to face the well-rested Falcons. The Cowboys were greeted by their former leader, who'd be watching his old team from the broadcasting booth. Ironically, just 2 years earlier, Roger Staubach had involuntarily been relegated to the sidelines in the divisional playoffs against these same Atlanta Falcons.
A guy named Pennywell, linebacker, blitzed, and he grabbed me and he drove me into the ground. So I was gone. I was out for a long time and did not play.
All of a sudden, here comes Danny White, who really hadn't proved himself to the football team, especially to the offensive football team, that he had the ability to perform in a pressure situation such as a playoff game. I believe he hit a couple touchdown passes. I mean, it was like Roger hadn't even left.
Danny rolling out to his right, finally gets it away, touchdown, Becky Smith.
Worst thing we ever did is we knocked Staubach out, and some quarterback came in that hadn't studied the film, and he wasn't afraid.
White had come off the bench to rescue the Cowboys in '78. 2 years later, his teammates were hoping for an encore performance. But this postseason game would be played on the road against an infinitely more talented Falcons team, a team anxious to distance itself from an inglorious past.
Kelly, Lindsey Nelson with you from Atlanta's Fulton County Stadium here in this big NFC game. The winner goes on to the NFC Championship against the Philadelphia Eagles, and the loser goes to the golf course.
The entire playing field just now is in shadow. We have a bright, sunny day in Atlanta. Beautiful football afternoon.
Let's go, the big O. Carry it out, wow, let's go, get him! Let's go.
Player for player, they matched us extremely well. And I feel like they were by far the best team in the NFL that season. And they came out in that game fresh and rested and took it to us at the beginning.
Dallas kicking off. Smith is deep, and he's waiting at the 1 yard line. He returns it to the 5, to the 10. That's right to the 15, across the 20. Lunges upfield for a couple of yards and is stopped there across the 20-yard line. First and 10 at the 23. And the Atlanta Falcons bring Bartkowski onto the field. Completion percentage 55.5. 31 touchdown passes. William Andrews and Lynn Kane are the running backs.
The front five of the Atlanta Falcons doing a good job. Mike Ken, Dave Scott, Jeff Benoit, R.C. Thielman, and Warren Bryant in there.
Bartkowski calling starting signals. Wide receiver to the left side. Bartkowski handing it off to Lynn Kane. Kane tries the left side, gets at most a yard, if that, as he is smothered by the Cowboy defense.
And you talk about that Cowboy defense, Dallas losing the services of two of their defensive players with injuries against that Los Angeles Ram team. Guy Brown replaces Hegman in the starting linebacker role. Dennis Thurman becomes the starting safety once again.
Bartkowski now gives it off, and it's taken by Kane to the right side. That's the 30 and out of bounds, first and 10.
Lynn Kane gained 914 yards rushing during the season, despite having only 2 runs of 20 yards or more.
By the draw play. And this time it is Andrews diving, and he gets across the 45-yard line and up to the 47-yard line. Turning.
The first series, I mean, they drove down the field. I mean, we were pretty soft. We just, first part, you know, we just weren't stopping them, or, you know, they get 5 here, 5 there.
Bartkowski wants to go long and does, and it's complete to the left side. Taking across the 30-yard line and on down to the 25-yard line.
Junior Miller, 47 receptions on the year, 584 yards, averaging almost 13 yards and 9 touchdowns. Junior Miller, you take a look at that guy, number 80. He is 6'4", 235. If he's junior, I'd like to meet senior. Very impressive opening drive put out by the Atlanta Falcons right now against the veteran Dallas Cowboy team.
It seemed only a matter of time until Atlanta would score. But on 3rd and 5, their most reliable receiver committed an uncharacteristic mistake.
Bartkowski short drop, pumps twice, throws into the end zone, and it is incomplete. Incomplete, bobbled up into the air by Jenkins.
You know, Alfred Jenkins did drop that first pass, but he had an outstanding game, played very, very well. Had an outstanding year for us. It was just one of the plays he happened to drop.
4 points were lost that would haunt the Falcons later. But for the moment, the early lead was theirs.
Mazzetti boots it up, and it is good. And so the Atlanta Falcons have scored first.
Take the opening kickoff. They go 56 yards, 12 plays. They use 5:21 on the clock, a 38-yard field goal. And the Falcons are smoking early.
Here comes Mazzetti now. Boots it. Knuckleball to the left side over near the sideline. It is fielded and lateral long. And it's going to be stopped at the 22-yard line.
The veteran Dallas Cowboy team with a new leader at the helm. Of course, it's Danny White, who's replaced the retired Roger Staubach. And beating the Los Angeles Rams last week, 34-13, the Dallas Cowboys put on the greatest offensive performance, certainly among them in the history of their team in postseason play, with over 500 yards total offense.
Dropping back is Danny White to pass on first down. He's going long. Way downfield, incomplete. Intending it for Tony Hill.
Our goal was to make you throw on 1st and 10. If we could make you throw on 1st and 10, and you were not successful, we could therefore win that series. Because now in 2nd and long and 3rd and long, we were going to give you stuff that you have never seen.
Dorsett gets it, goes to the right side, and he is stood up there.
And this was a day when Tony Dorsett was not the focus of our offense. I think we realized very early on that they were all keen on him, and somebody else was going to have to take up the slack. They were all over him.
No secret about the fact these young Falcons feel if they can shut down the running of Tony Dorsett, they can contain the Dallas Cowboys offensive unit all together here this afternoon with their young defensive charges. That's what Atlanta wants to do this afternoon, force Danny White to throw, and that's what they've done here.
Jerry Glanville's defenses are not designed to be pretty. They're designed to be brutal. You know, you see guys running to the ball. You see big D linemen stroking running backs on screens. I mean, that's all part of his plan. And you know what? We bought into it hook, line, and sinker.
I'll take inside position because everything they're doing is they're running slants over the middle and stuff. White's rolling one way and stop him throwing back the other. So I would even take it as far as 7 or 8 yards from the sideline because they run one out. Right. So I would take that inside away from him because everything's going over the middle.
The Atlanta Falcons have a 3-point lead, 6:31 remaining in the first quarter. Steve Bartkowski brings them up. Kane on the right side, Andrews on the left side, wide receivers left and right. Bartkowski handing it off, taken up there by Andrews. Picked up about 5 on the play. 2nd down and 5 at the 25-yard line. Gets it and gives it off to Kane. And Kane finds some running room across the 30. He's got the first down, gets across the 35, 36-yard line.
He was doing a good job, I think, of mixing the run and the pass early in this football game. The Atlanta Falcons right now are taking the football game to the Dallas Cowboys.
All year long, people didn't know how to defense us. And anytime we could get a one-on-one matchup with Alfred Jenkins, I was taking it. The post route was one of the best things that Alfred Jenkins did. And the flip side of that was he went to the corner better than anybody in the game.
Bartkowski retreats. Goes long, and it is Jenkins, and he's got it at the 22, 15, 10, 5, touchdown. Alfred Jenkins took it in for the TD.
Alfred was just one-on-one, and you know, he could run as fast as I could throw it. The only guy I've ever played with who I can say that about, and I just lofted it up there. You know, it was a pretty easy deal.
I'm sure after that bomb, Lindsey, from Bartkowski to Alfred Jenkins, they feel they can work on Aaron Mitchell all afternoon because Jenkins had Mitchell beaten a good 3-4 yards. I'm not so sure we won't see that play several times before this day is done.
The Mitchell-Jenkins mismatch was a Cowboy concern. But for now, Dallas was faced with more immediate problems. They needed to generate some offense to change momentum and cut into Atlanta's double-digit lead.
Danny White throws a screen left, and it's taken there by Dorsett. Dorsett is up to the 45-yard line before he's stopped there. The Cowboys have done little offensively in their 2 possessions. Meanwhile, Atlanta's had the ball twice, and they put points up on the board twice. Addison wide receivers left and right for Danny White, who attacks to set it up. And he whips it complete up to the 50-yard line. It was Dupree, Billy Joe Dupree, the tight end. Fulton Kuykendall made the hit. Clock is running, 3:25 remaining in the first quarter. There's a quick pitch, and against the reverse with Drew Pearson carry. Pearson goes to the right side across the 50-45. Drew Pearson stopped at the 41-yard line. Kenny Johnson made the tackle over there. Cowboys trying to keep their drive alive. Danny White sets up, going long, and it is complete inside the 25-yard line to Tony Hill.
You won't see a finer catch in terms of concentration than that one by Tony Hill. In the midst of triple coverage, and credit Danny White because he threw it on a thimble right in there.
The Falcons were wobbling after absorbing the Cowboys' counterpunches. But then Atlanta got a huge break, thanks to some unintended assistance from the officials.
Dropping back now is Danny White. He guns it into the end zone. Touchdown. Incomplete. Butch Johnson had it and dropped it. Butch Johnson had it for just a second. Kenny Johnson was there.
That was a touchdown. I see Butch Johnson catch that ball. He came down with 2 feet. He had possession of the ball.
Now, he was stripped out on the field, and had it been on the field, it would have been different. But it wasn't in the field. It was in the end zone, and that's a magical, special area.
We practiced the SWAT. They have since changed the rule because of that. You pounded the ball as hard as you could on the ground. And we always thought we could convince everybody it was never caught.
I think if that happened 10 times, yeah, certainly 9 times, or if not 10, they would have called it a touchdown. You know, it did appear that he had his feet down. That was a break one our way.
Butch Johnson catches the ball, then it was stripped loose. And I'm not so sure that the Dallas Cowboys don't have a legitimate complaint. The officials say no catch, incomplete, 4th and 10 at the 20-yard line.
Roger Staubach did an interview at halftime of that game with Terry Bradshaw. And I remember Roger saying that he felt sorry for the guy because during the week his seeing eye dog had died.
We'll have now a field goal attempt. It'll be a 38-yarder for Rafael Septien. Charlie Waters holding down on one knee. Septien with the field goal, and it is good. And the Dallas Cowboys get 3 points on the board.
There wasn't instant replay back then, so you can't review it, and it was just a split-second decision by the official that no, he did not have possession. And, you know, it happened so quick, it was disappointing. But I know Butch complained, and a lot of guys complained, but from my standpoint, it was, well, we didn't get it. We kicked the field goal. We got our 3 points. At least we got on the board. We got some points out of the deal.
That's the end of the first quarter with the score, Atlanta 10, Dallas 3.
As the second quarter got underway, the Dallas defense remained a frustrated group. Doomsday's front four was losing the battle against Atlanta's talented offensive line, allowing Steve Bartkowski more than enough time to seek out whatever pass target he chose.
Well, I thought we could have scored every time we had the football. Nobody could take away everything that we did. It was a, quarterback's dream, basically. I mean, we had too many weapons. There's just no way to really defense everybody.
But just when the Falcons appeared to be on the verge of breaking the game open, both of the Cowboys' defensive ends came up big with critical plays.
Bartkowski handing it off, and they come to the left side. Andrews bluffs off one tackler, tries to go back to the right, but he can't get away this time. It's Too Tall Jones is the man playing tag with Andrews, and finally pulled him down back there at the 47-yard line.
This is a big play for the Dallas defense here, Lindsey. They have not stopped the Atlanta Falcons yet in this football game. Each time Atlanta's had the ball, they've gone down and scored.
3rd down and 19 yards to go for the Falcons. They have the ball at the 47-yard line to the Dallas Cowboys. Bartkowski retreating. And
and he is hit. The ball bounds away. Dickinson's on the ball. It is a fumble. Dickinson recovers for the Cowboys. 1st and 10 at the 45-yard line of the Atlanta Falcons.
Well, big play time for that doomsday defense of the Dallas Cowboys. And the man that got through there, number 79, Harvey Martin, the 8-year veteran from East Texas State. So the Cowboys operate 1st and 10 from the Atlanta 45.
Their priority became protection because we had knocked down so many quarterbacks. So I think for that reason, they weren't trying to force the ball down the field. And that gave me more courage to play one-on-one out there.
They never did really attack us in the first half. I was surprised that they didn't attack our corners a little bit more.
On the next series, the Cowboys' wideouts became little more than roving decoys. Not a single pass was thrown their way. In fact, neither would even touch the ball until just before halftime.
Play action. White is rolling and throwing, and it's complete to the tight end Dupree across the 30 and down to the 26-yard line. Ashkendall and Curry made the stop. And they give it this time to Dorsett. He tries the right side, can't turn the corner. He got a yard to the 24-yard line as he was bounced out of bounds by Al Richardson. Rookie linebacker. It's going to be 2nd down and 9 yards to go. Hand it off to Dorsett. He tries the left side. Finds a little running room to the 20. And it's going out of bounds at the 16-yard line.
Pat Donovan, the left tackle. Herbert Scott, the left guard, clearing that hole. And then Dorsett turned it outside and did it on his own. But he is just shy of 1st down yardage. It's 3rd and about 2 lengths of the football.
Quarterback sneak. Danny White tries to wedge him out. And I think he got it. It is a 1st and 10 at the 15. Ron Springs is in there in place of Newhouse now, dropping back. Danny White throws screen to Springs on the left side. 15-10, down the 5-yard line and just inside the 5.
A Falcon stop brought on 3rd and 1, so Dallas beefed up with 3 tight ends. One of them was about to become a hero.
I can remember the play called fire slant 27 bootleg right. Was the name of the play. At the time, it was a huge play. We needed points desperately.
We've got all the tight ends on the squad in there at the moment. And rolling is White and looking, and he throws, and it is taken at the goal line. Touchdown, Joe Dupree.
Dupe had an out route, and he got shut off by the linebacker. And he actually posted him with his left arm, and I threw the ball back on his right shoulder, and once he gets you posted up, there's just not much you can do about it. And he posted up, and fortunately, I got the ball on the right shoulder, and he made the play and stuck the ball in the end zone.
Billy Joel was a good player, but we were not doubling him. We wanted the ball to go there. That's an area where we thought we could match up, we could run with him. And so that was a good play selection by them. They were getting paid to figure out what we were doing, and the tight end was not a priority with us.
While focusing all their energy tying the game, the Cowboys had neglected to make some much-needed defensive adjustments, and Atlanta made them pay.
They started abusing us on the outside with their wide receiver, Jenkins, especially against Aaron Mitchell. And the matchup just didn't work.
1st and 10 at the 34-yard line. And dropping back is Bartkowski. Going long to Jenkins, and he is in a crowd, and covered in by Jenkins. How he made the catch at the 15-yard line, I'll never know. He was flanked by Dennis Thurman, and Aaron Mitchell, he got the ball at his 1st and 10, started at the 16-yard line.
You know, it's one of those deals where you just kind of get a feeling about, the guy going to want the ball more than the other guy, and just kind of toss that one up there. I remember thinking as soon as I let it go, oh, God, I've thrown it into double coverage, But, again, Alfred was such an athlete that he just went up and got the football.
Dennis Thurman came over. Actually, Thurman almost had the ball for the interception, and Jenkins took it away.
So the Atlanta Falcons in a game that is tied 10-10 with 3.5 minutes left to play in the first half. Have the ball 1st and 10 at the 16-yard line. Opened up and now dropping back. Bartkowski, his pass is complete. Taken by Junior Miller, and he goes out of bounds at about the 2-yard line.
The pass was there all night long, and Bart was humming. Junior Miller had a big night. That was the best year Junior had, maybe the only year Junior had. Junior faded very quickly, but he was a very, very good tight end that one year.
Bartkowski waiting for the snap. Gets it now, gives it to Kane, and Kane dives in. Flying touchdown for the Atlanta Falcons. And the Atlanta Falcons who take Kane's touchdown, and the Falcons regain the lead.
Simply bowled it over behind the right side blocking of R.C. Thielman and Warren Bryant, and the Falcons go, well, they go a bunch of yards in just 4 plays. The big one, though, the bomb to Alfred Jenkins again.
And the Atlanta Falcons are leading in the ball game now by a score of 17-10.
Dallas took over with plenty of time remaining before the half. But Atlanta's aggressive defense was well prepared for just about everything in the Cowboys' 2-minute drill.
We'd run a running play and we'd have a breakdown, with 1 guy or 2 guys, and they'd make a nice play. Passing game-wise, I really don't think we really figured out what coverages they were running, and I think we were confused. I think the coaches were a little confused as to what plays to call. I think that, they changed their coverage and had Danny a little confused because we just weren't making it work.
The sputtering Cowboys gave the ball back with half a minute on the clock. More than enough time for Alfred Jenkins to continue tormenting the shell-shocked Dallas secondary.
30 seconds remaining to be played in the first half. Dropping back is Bartkowski. He goes long, and Jenkins has got it up at the 44-yard line of the Dallas Cowboys. Alfred Jenkins with a leaping catch, 1st and 10. Charlie Waters made the tackle.
The Cowboys, of course, if you're talking to yourself back in the secondary, somebody's got to come up with some kind of a big play here because Bartkowski has simply been picking the Cowboy defense apart.
With 15 seconds left, one Dallas defensive back finally did make a big play.
Dropping back now is Bartkowski. He looks and he throws, and it is intercepted for the Dallas Cowboys at the 29-yard line by Steve Wilson.
The turnover that we got from Steve at the end of the first half, it was a good stabilizing factor that these guys weren't invincible. I mean, Bartkowski was not throwing the ball to us. He was very accurate, and that was the only mistake that he made in the first half. They probably would have gone down and scored either a field goal or a touchdown.
And time has run out. There's the gun sounding the end of the first half with the score Atlanta Falcons 17, Dallas Cowboys 10.
As Atlanta's fans celebrated their halftime lead, the mood in the Falcons' locker room was equally positive.
I didn't think there was any way that they could get control of this football game from us. I felt like we could do whatever we really wanted to do offensively against them, and our defense was playing sound.
We were the dominant team, up to that point. Defensively, we were stopping the big plays. They were not throwing the ball downfield. Dorsett had not broken any large runs or any big gainers.
We felt like we were going to win the football game, and Dallas is not a team that changes very much at halftime as far as changing their fronts or changing their coverages or anything like that. We felt like 17-10 on Dallas is still a good lead.
Coach Landry always had many different approaches, but, and I've heard many of, his halftime speeches.
He'd have the offense on one side, the defense on the other. He's a guy that, in the 13 years I played for him, I never heard him yell. And so he just mapped out and got his point across.
We just handled ourselves as professionals and just felt that to play as bad as we did, as poorly as we did the first half, and we're only down by 7 points, we got a chance to win this ball game.
We never felt as though we were out of the game. We had a certain arrogance and attitude about us that we felt like we could compete, and it was just going to be a matter of time before it was all going to swing our way.
Coming up, the second half of the 1980 Cowboys-Falcons divisional playoff.
They were pretty methodical. They remind me of guys going into work. They weren't emotional. It wasn't a rah-rah team. They just sort of said, this is what we do. Oh, that didn't work. We'll come back and do it again.
We didn't feel like we had played very well in the first half, and yet we were still in the game. We had a lot of confidence coming down the third quarter. We could win this game.
Danny White brings the Dallas Cowboys up. It is Dorsett on the tail of his Adam taking the pitch coming to the right side. Across the 15, across the 20. Gets it out to the 23-yard line. Second down and 1 yard to go. Newhouse, the lone setback. Newhouse gets it, and he gets the 1 yard. He picks it up out to the 28-yard line, 1st and 10. Dorsett moves into the left set. Now he's back into the tailback of the I formation. And Danny White is throwing to the left side, and it's complete. Drew Pearson, and he was stopped by Kenny Johnson.
The Cowboys' opening possession of the second half began with methodical efficiency, a patient mix of run and pass. On 3rd down and 5, what appeared to be a big play for Dallas resulted in a seismic shift in momentum.
3rd down, 5 yards to go at the 49. Into the shotgun now. Danny White gets the ball retreat. Danny White being chased out of the pocket and throws it complete behind the line of scrimmage, but being advanced now. And Dustin Pearson is across the 30, 25, 20, 15. And now ball is fumbled. The scramble is on. Picked up by the Falcons, and the Falcons are readvancing. The 15-yard line. Oh, boy.
Falcons linebacker Joel Williams, who as an undrafted free agent produced 16 quarterback sacks in 1980, authored what is one of the most overlooked yet singularly spectacular individual plays in NFL playoff history.
Joel put on a performance non-parallel with that play right there. Wasn't it beautiful? I mean, here we come out with the ball.
That's the way Joel ran. He had great pressure. He was close to getting the sack. They throw the ball. They have a big-time play. He turns, he sprints to where the ball is caught downfield. The guy is running after the catch, and he knocks that ball loose. All done by the same guy.
Preston made a great run, made a couple of great cuts, and we thought it was going to go all the way, and then got stripped from behind. The ball came out, and they got it. But I'm going to have to look at that again. That's hard to believe that a guy could run that far down the field and make that kind of a play.
Every guy tried to get in on every single play. And we had convinced ourselves that we could wear them down. If we keep hitting them and we keep chasing them, they will surrender.
The Dallas Cowboys took the opening kickoff in the second half, and they used almost 4.5 minutes on the clock. They came away with a turnover. Preston Pearson stripped of the ball from behind. Tom Pridemore picked it up at his 10, ran it back a couple of yards. Everybody started belting everybody else. One penalty flag later, Atlanta operates 1st and 10 from their own 30-yard line.
Bartkowski, wide receivers left and right. Short drop. Puts it out to the left. Taken out there by Jenkins. Alfred Jenkins takes it back to 40. 45-50 in the cross of the Dallas territory. At the 48-yard line, Bob Prunick made the stop. 1st and 10 for the Atlanta Falcons in Dallas territory. And a wing left with a lone setback. They try the draw flag. Big opener on Andrews. Went through for about 10 yards to the 38-yard line. Bartkowski dropping back. Goes up the middle and is complete. Taken in by Andrews inside the 30-yard line, and Andrews is stopped at the 27. Bartkowski waiting for the snap. And again, it is taken by Andrews. He tries the left side. Gets inside the 20-yard line. It's another 1st down for the Atlanta Falcons.
You can simply feel the electricity in the air here at Atlanta's Fulton County Stadium. The offensive surge of the Atlanta line right now sticking it to the Dallas, what once was a doomsday defense. That time, William Andrews simply ran out of the grasp of Harvey Martin, ran away from Randy White, and picked up another Falcon 1st down.
Now they come out of the I formation. Wide receivers left and right for Bartkowski, who has the ball. Gets it to Kane, tries the right side. Kane gets about 3 yards down to the 12-yard line before he's stacked up there. Running back to split. Kane on the left set. Andrews in the right set. Motion back from an outside right. Bartkowski retreats, sets up, throws, and it is complete. And it is taken in there for a touchdown. Touchdown. The end zone. Andrews took it right at the 1-yard line and across the goal line. Bartkowski hit him on the numbers. Touchdown for the Atlanta Falcons.
It was a play that we had designed in our game plan to run inside the 20, where we knew what the coverages were going to be. We were pretty much certain they're going to be in man-to-man and that type of thing. Andrews broke back inside and beat the middle linebacker that was coming over there to cover him, and was able to take it in the end zone. And it was a play that we had specifically designed for a specific situation in the ballgame.
The Falcons now led 24-10 midway through the 3rd quarter. their defense continued to assert itself, forcing the Cowboys to go 3 and out on the possession following the touchdown. Atlanta's offense would get the ball with an opportunity to put the Cowboys away.
My feeling was, let's bury these guys. If we got to keep coming after them because, you don't want to give them any sign of life. You don't want to give them any chance to come back.
I would think, Lindsey, it's imperative for the Cowboys defense now to certainly halt Atlanta. You can't even afford even a field goal at this point because that would be a 17-point advantage. And the way this young Falcons defense has been playing, that might be too much for Dallas to overcome with time winding down in the third quarter.
First and 10 at the 49-yard line of the Cowboys. This is Andrews coming to the left side. He's closed off on the defense. Not a chance. Harvey Martin, big number 79, was there.
For us to stop them and shut the life out of them, actually knock them backwards, stop that running game on first down. The first down was very important to us because then the momentum shifts to the defense. Advantage defense when you stop them on first down, and we did.
Second down and 14. Running backs are even up to Steve Bartkowski. Back now to look, and he's dropped. He had Too Tall Jones got there first.
There's something psychological that when you get sacked deep and get smothered, it isn't just the quarterback, but it's the offensive line. And, you're placing that doubt in their mind. It's like, ooh, this thing's getting worse. We don't have this under control.
You feel that when that happens. When they turn it up a notch, you can feel it. The feeling that we had in the first half of being in control started to slowly evaporate over the, midway through the third quarter.
Up next, the Cowboys finally assert themselves in a furious fourth quarter.
Tom Landry was the master at doing things different. You respected that and you feared that. If you didn't, you were a fool.
You could tell by watching the game that we had a certain belief system built into us from the years of being in big games and knowing that we're capable of making a comeback, regardless of who is at the helm.
Trailing by 14 points, Danny White and the Cowboys offense began their third possession of the second half at their own 15-yard line. There were 3.5 minutes remaining in the third quarter. On 2nd and 6, White's improvisational effort produced a key Dallas first down.
First and 10 at the 30-yard line for the Dallas Cowboys. And this is Dorsett. He finds some running room across the 35 and out to the 39-yard line.
You could still tell that we were not in panic mode. I mean, we were throwing short passes, running the ball. We were just running our offense. We never really got out of our game plan. And I think that's a credit to Coach Landry and his discipline and his confidence in us that he wasn't ready to panic. He wasn't ready to start throwing the ball down the field and trying to make big plays and get yardage in big chunks. We were still going to be patient.
Taken by Newhouse. He's got the first and 10, still going to the 50-yard line.
The two biggest plays of the drive were an 18-yard run by Robert Newhouse on 2nd and 1, and a 26-yard catch and carry by Ron Springs on the very next play, which ended the third quarter.
The 2nd and 1 would have to be totally my fault because I tried to win the 2nd and 1. We were all there to make it 3rd and 1. And that's how we played. But when you play that way, when you get a crack, you look kind of foolish because they can stumble for the long run.
1 quarter to play here. Danny White throwing to the left side, and it's complete to Tony Hill down near the 6-yard line. First down and goal to go at the 6-yard line. Dorsett tries the left side, accelerates, puts his head down, tries. He goes out of bounds short of the goal line. It's going to be 2nd down and goal to go at the 1-yard line. Newhouse is in there now along with Dorsett. They're at the 1-yard line. And now Danny White wants to move Dorsett over to the right side of Newhouse. Giving it off to Newhouse, and he goes in for the touchdown for the Dallas Cowboys. All right. So they took it in with 13:50 remaining to be played. In this football game, the Cowboys have scored, and they have a conversion attempt coming.
That was a critical stage of the whole process because now our offense had finally moved the ball, done everything, finished the drive, and we knew we could do it against them. And now we'd done it, and we were going to have to do it a couple more times before the day was over.
How the way to go, Danny?
They had a good defensive game plan, and it took us 3 quarters to figure out what their game plan was. But once we did, we started to execute and do the things we needed to do to score points.
The Atlanta Falcons now leading 24-17. They have it 1st and 10 at their own 20-yard line. 13 minutes, 47 seconds on the clock. Bartkowski waiting for the snap. Gives it to Andrews, and Andrews simply struggles his way up and gets to the 24-yard line. It'll be 2nd down, 6 yards to go at the 24. And now Bartkowski takes a snapshot snap. Sets up to throw it and throws to the left side. And it is a diving catch. Gathered in by Wallace Francis.
We were an aggressive football team, and I think we played better when we weren't trying to protect a lead, you know, when we were trying to get after people.
Alfred Jenkins far to the right side. Bartkowski throws left, and it is incomplete. 3rd and 7 for the Atlanta Falcons. Lone setback. That's King. Bartkowski has the ball. Dropping back and looking. And it is batted back. It's too tall, George. 6 feet 9 inches tall. Got up there to deflect the passing attempt, and the punting unit comes on. The Atlanta Falcons have to give up the ball.
The momentum had shifted at that point. You know, for whatever reason, the ball was in their court. They were playing better defensively. They were playing, you know, with a little fire in their eye.
The Cowboys' offense could not take advantage of the opportunity their defense had presented.
Anyway, dropping back, sets it up and goes long, and it is incomplete and deflected, intercepted. Five more to the 27th, it's a deflected pass, and now the Atlanta Falcons have it 1st and 10. They'll leave a 38-yard line off the Dallas Cowboys.
It was a ball I shouldn't have thrown. That was a bad, bad feeling after throwing that ball and getting it picked off, just because I felt like after all we'd done to get back in the game, you know, now someone was going to have to bail me out.
Momentum's key at that point in the game, so now we kind of get the thing shifted back, get the football in pretty good field position. I think at that point, you know, we're still, or from my perspective, very confident we're going to win this football game.
The importance of this Atlanta Falcon drive is certainly obvious. Atlanta leads 24-17.
Lehman was the kind of guy that he would not be afraid to stall the ball, you know, to try to kill the clock. And if he felt like he had the upper hand and he had enough points.
Here's a handoff. Andrews goes to the left side. Dives up to the 35-yard line.
We went Republican. We went real conservative late in the game, trying to preserve that lead and quit throwing. Ran William, and they shut us down. Lehman sat on it. I mean, you know, hindsight.
I never did feel that way. I went back immediately after the ball game and tried to go through every play and every situation and as why the play was called and when it was called and that type of thing, and I didn't feel that way.
On 3rd and 5 from the Dallas 33-yard line, the Falcons converted a key 1st down on the swing pass to Lynn Kay. That put them inside the Cowboys' 20. The play call was an aggressive one, more liberal than conservative.
Short drop. Bartkowski lifts, face out of the pocket, and he's going to keep the ball and eat it. Back at the 23-yard line.
It's a sense you get in games like that. I don't care how long you've been playing or how short you've been playing or if you're just a fan, there is a sense. The sense was this one's slipping away.
What was evident was that the Cowboys' defensive line had taken control of the game.
3rd and 7 at the 16-yard line. Junior Miller in motion across, mowing right. Bartkowski dropping back. And again, he evades the tackler. It's hit just as he throws. It's incomplete off to the left side. And so it's going to be 4th down, and Mazzetti comes out of the field. Jim Mazzetti.
We couldn't take advantage of the opportunities that we had in the second half. And we may have made a mistake, but not go ahead and going after them even more and trying to totally put the game out of reach. But if you look at the play-by-play closely, we had 2 opportunities in the second half where we were on the 50 or inside Dallas territory on the 50. One time had to settle for a field goal. One time took a sack, ended up having to punt the football.
The failure to capitalize would come back to haunt the Falcons. They would add to their lead with a Tim Mazzetti field goal. But would it be enough to secure victory?
This will be a 33-yard attempt. A 33-yard attempt for Mazzetti. James puts it down. Mazzetti boots it up. And it's good. 33-yard field goal. And
So the Atlanta Falcons add 3 more.
Coming up, drama, tension, a touch of fate, and a finish for the ages.
Danny had been in some pressure situations before, but never in a situation where everything's do or die. You have to make the plays for us to win. Roger had proved that he could perform in those situations, but there was still some doubt whether Danny White could perform in those situations. Doubt amongst the coaching staff, doubt amongst the players, doubt amongst the media, doubt amongst the fans.
White back to set up, and he's going on to the sideline. It's taken by Drew Pearson.
Big first down.
All I could think of was take your keys, execute the offense, have confidence in the plays that are called, have confidence in the system, have confidence in your teammates, and don't try to win this thing by yourself.
Through 3.5 quarters, the Cowboys had struggled to get the ball downfield to their wide receivers. That would now change.
Atlanta with a 10-point lead, 5.5 minutes left to play in the game. Danny White waiting for the snap. Again drops straight back. And he throws up the middle, and it's complete to Drew Pearson. He is inside the 25-yard line.
I'm sure it just freaked out Atlanta. You could just tell that the way they got back to their huddle that they said, oh my God, these are the guys we've been watching on TV, winning championships. This is Drew Pearson. We believed that it was going to happen.
Following the 24-yard completion to Pearson, White would hit Tony Dorsett for 9 yards. What happened next was the stuff of legend, with a nod and a wink to Roger Staubach.
Second down and about 1 yard to go for the first down. The ball is inside the 15-yard line. Now Danny White rolls to the left side. Sets up, looks back right. Scampers out to the right side. Stops, looks, and gives an indication. Throws into the end zone. A touchdown for the Dallas Cowboys.
Drew Pearson, number 88.
I remember like it was yesterday how he pointed to the left, and I could see all the defenders and everybody start going that way where he was pointing. I didn't move, and he read that, and he just zipped the pass into me, and I was able to catch it between 2 defenders, and that gave us one of the touchdowns we needed.
There was nothing out there but just time. And it seemed like it was forever. I mean, it seemed like I was out there for 5 minutes.
That play lasted, I think, 55 minutes by itself.
He stood back there for 5.5 minutes. They had to turn the stadium lights on. In fact, he stood back there so long. But the amazing thing, if you look at the tape closely, when he pointed, he was pointing for Pearson to go back the other way.
I was pointing to Drew to go to the left corner of the end zone where there was nobody. And as so many great plays, just exactly the way you draw it up, right? The defensive backs all see me point, and they stop, they freeze, and actually some of them actually started running to where I was pointing. Drew moves the other way into a hole. And this is one of those times when you see that 88 down there staring at you. Something happens. And I threw a ball that I probably should never have thrown. Because it was Drew, I threw it anyway.
White simply scrambled out to the right side, was in some trouble. Then Pearson cut the pattern back on a post. Danny White with his finger points where he wants him to go. Drew Pearson went up and comes down with a catch right in front of number 37, Kenny Johnson.
So the Dallas Cowboys have come back. And we have a 27-24 ball game.
3 minutes and 40 seconds left to go. Can be an eternity right now for both of these football teams. This game is a long way from being over.
The ball is at the 24-yard line, 1st and 10. Raitkowski, snap pass out to Kane on the right side. He struggles up the sideline, steps out along there somewhere. It'll be marked, I think, in the vicinity of the 30-yard line.
Well, if you're a Falcon rooter, you've got to like that call. Aggressive play calling.
2nd and 4 at the 30-yard line. Kane off the tail of the tandem comes right, gets nothing. He stops at the 30-yard line. So it'll be 3rd down and 4 yards to go for the Falcons, but the clock is running. It is right now exactly 3 minutes remaining to be played in the game. Crowd is rising now to the occasion of the 3rd down. Junior Miller moves over to a wing left. Ed Too Tall Jones started in, did not cross the line of scrimmage apparently. Kane gets the handoff. He's cut off as he tries to go left and comes back right and picks up at most a foot.
You know what? On the mistake, Ed Too Tall Jones might have made the defensive play of the football game.
That was the play that actually beat us.
You go to your grave remembering Too Tall Jones trying not to jump off sides.
Hey, you got to have some luck, and that was a lucky play.
He's the only guy I know that the most pivotal play in his career may have been a stumble. If you do it 1,000 times, 999, you're going to get your chewed out because you blew it for everybody. Ed stumbles into the hole. I mean, he throws the whole play for a loop. We get the first down, ball game's over with. You know, man, wouldn't this show be a lot more fun if you're saying, hey, Jeff, how about the time you kicked Dallas's in 1980?
I went on a hard count. I knew I could get him anytime I wanted to during the game, you know, and I just kind of was saving that. It was an ace in the hole. I knew they had their ears pinned back. I knew they'd be thinking about shooting gaps or trying to get to me, you know, thinking maybe we were going to put the ball up. I thought it was an opportunity for us to get a free first down, if you will, without running a play.
The Falcons were forced to punt. The Cowboys would get the ball with 1 minute and 48 seconds to play. A field goal would tie the game. A touchdown would put them ahead.
Dallas will start first and 10, just short of the 30-yard line. The Dallas Cowboys, of course, a veteran team in this situation many times, but not with Danny White at the controls. They go into the shotgun formation, taken out by Danny White. Butch Johnson, just a little turnout, and he's taking it up near midfield. Preston Pearson is coming to the ball game for the Dallas Cowboys. Direct snap out of the shotgun now to Danny White. There's a screen right to Preston Pearson. At the 50, 45, at the 40, Preston Pearson goes to the 37-yard line. First and 10 at the 37-yard line. Direct snap to Danny White. Going long, downfield and incomplete. Atlanta leading 27-24. Crowd on their feet here at Atlanta Fulton County Stadium. Second down and 10 yards to go for the Cowboys. Shotgun formation. Danny White has the ball. He drops back. Throws a screen left. Taken by Tony Dorsett. 35, 30, 25. Clock says that we have 52 seconds left, and it's running. It is a first down for the Dallas Cowboys. Waiting to take the snap is Danny White. They're not in the shotgun here. Goes to the left sideline, and Tony Hill can't get it. Across the sideline. Second down and 10 yards to go at the 23-yard line. Still not in the shotgun here. That's Drew Pearson in motion across from the wing left. Danny White dropping back. And throws to Drew Pearson, and he has got a touchdown. Touchdown, Drew Pearson in the end zone. How quickly the face of this football game has turned.
Preston Pearson was actually lined up on the wrong side of me. He was on my left, supposed to be on the right. On the snap of the ball, they come with a blitz to my right. And so I immediately read, blitz read, hot read. As it turned out, Preston saw the blitz all the way. He steps up, across, and picks up the blitz. I didn't have to throw hot, but I did. Drew didn't read the blitz either because it wasn't a blitz situation, and he was in motion. It was behind him anyway. So I throw hot, and I just threw the ball to the post, but it's probably just a throwaway pass.
When I looked up, the ball was already in the air. And Danny had that confidence that he threw the ball before I even made my break. And therefore, that was the whole blessing to the play. And the reason why it turned into touchdown, before Pridemore, the safety, came over to either intercept the ball or knock it down or lay me out, either one.
That play, more than any play in my career, do I remember exactly, you know, as it unfolded almost in slow motion, to watch that ball floating up there and for Drew Pearson to come down with it, you know, in the end zone.
That was a Roger Staubach type moment for Danny White as far as his career was concerned.
Roger who? Roger who? We got a Roger who? Raphael steps in will attempt the conversion. Charlie Waters holding for him. Waters hand out stretch, puts the ball down and drops it. Picks it up. He tries to scramble. He throws, and it's incomplete.
I only fumbled 2 snaps in my whole career, and this one was not the good time to be fumbling this ball. And I fumbled it, and I just made the mistake. I felt a horrible sinking feeling in my stomach.
So the conversion attempt fails, and the Dallas Cowboys do not get the point that would have made it a 4-point margin.
Instead, it is still a 3-point margin. Dallas over Atlanta. 42 seconds left on the clock. Here comes Septien. Puts it up. Mike Smith chases it over. It's in the end zone. He is going to run it out. Gets to the 5, to the 10, to the 15. And just across the 20 and up to the 25 and possibly the 27, there's a marker. There's a marker thrown. And tempers are flaring. Officials trying to get ball players separated on the far side. And his tripping is indicated against the Atlanta Falcons. The penalty's going to put it back to about the 12 or 13-yard line.
Let's go. Finish it out.
First and 10 at the 13. Bartkowski retreats, and he is dropped back there at the 3-yard line. Bartkowski, as he set up, never had a chance. It was Larry Cole who got to him. Second down, 20 yards to go. They have the ball at their own 3. Bartkowski from his own end zone. Throwing up the right sideline, and it is taken across the 20-yard line and out of bounds. Clock says 24 seconds remaining to be played. Bartkowski again dropping back and looking. Throwing up the left sideline this time. Incomplete. 19 seconds remaining to be played in the game. Dallas 30, Atlanta 27. Fourth down, 2 yards to go at the 21. Bartkowski throwing. And it is incomplete. Incomplete. He tried to get it to Wallace Francis, and the ball goes over to the Dallas Cowboys. It is a dejected unit of Atlanta Falcons coming slowly off the field, walking as though in slow motion. The offensive unit comes off. Jubilation among the Dallas Cowboys on the far side of the field.
It's total elation, but it's also a feeling of, well, that's the way it's supposed to be, which is kind of a strange arrogance, but we had that. We believed that we were supposed to win these big games.
Falcons, you gotta play 60 minutes, huh? Well, that's what we came here to play tonight, is 60 minutes. This is why we the baddest motherfuckers in the NFL. Let's go.
My feeling was, man, we blew an awesome opportunity. I mean, we had the best football team in the league. I mean, I knew it. The Dallas Cowboys knew it.
It's sad for them because they were so good not to have figured out a way to keep that victory.
That's what it's all about. We're lucky, but we'll take it. We'd rather be lucky than good any day.
When I watched that film the other day, and I be honest with you, I hadn't watched the whole game in my life. The pain was too deep. It was 10 years before I could talk about that game.
We had a chance to put that stake in the ground, and we would have always walked together, you know, as world champions.
It's impossible to describe to anybody else, and it's something you'll take with you to your grave, and that's why you play the game. You don't play the game for the Super Bowl rings, and you don't play the game for money, and you don't play the game for personal accolades. You play the game for the great feeling that you get from accomplishing something with your teammates. That's the feeling, and that's the beauty of it.
That game answered all the questions about, the negative questions about Danny White. Can he do it? Can he perform the same type of miracles that Roger Staubach performed at the quarterback position?
At the very end of the game, I observed Coach Landry, and he was just as stoic as he always has been. And I'm thinking, how can you not be just giddy like all the rest of us? This is incredible what we've accomplished here. We've handed the torch over to the other guy. And I was really pleased to see him in the locker room with a smile, I mean, and a huge smile. And as a matter of fact, he's as happy as I've ever seen him.
Herbie, keep the faith. You gotta believe, Coach.
We have a team that never quits. We play like champions, and we've been in these type of situations a number of times.
If you've been in enough playoffs, you've been in enough big games like that, it's got to help you some. Because the guys believe, because they've been standing on that sideline and seen it happen before. So they believe it's going to happen again.
All right, we did it. Better fourth quarter. Defense, what we needed.
Bubber, fine day.
Oh, Dutton, he can't believe
but you're
this.
Clean.
Dutton's never been through this before.
Yeah, no, he hasn't?
No, it's not that big a deal. We do it all.
For the Dallas Cowboys, the come-from-behind victory was yet another in a long line of dramatic playoff wins for a franchise accustomed to postseason success. For Atlanta, it was a bitter defeat, whose impact was still felt the following season, when the Falcons lost 9 of their final 13 games to finish with a losing record.
The football team we were in 1980 was who we should have been in 81.
We just didn't win the close games like we did the year before. Offensively, we were an outstanding football team. We had Pro Bowl players. We had players that were playing very, very well. Defensively, we gave up a lot of points, and people were able to beat us by, reasonably high-scoring games. We just couldn't hang in there defensively. So you begin to ask yourself, well, what happens to a football team? It's basically the same personnel, basically called and played the same offense, the same defense, but don't win.
In 1982, after becoming the first team in the league to clinch a postseason berth, the Falcons lost their final 3 games by a combined score of 103-37. The season ended in Minnesota when Atlanta could not hold on to a fourth-quarter lead.
When they lost that game to Minnesota in the playoff, it cost Lehman his job.
I think people were telling Rankin Smith, and he was listening, that we're a good enough football team to make it to the playoffs, but we're not going to make it to the Super Bowl. In fact, that's basically his words when he fired me.
The quote was that he had gotten to a plateau, and they wanted somebody to kind of take it to another level.
It was never the same again after they fired Lehman Bennett. It's the worst mistake the franchise ever made.
In the 7 years that followed, 3 head coaches produced only 33 wins in 111 games. The promise of 1980 had been replaced by a decade of decline.
Oh, it was pitiful. It was horrible. That's why guys retire after 9 years,
It's good to have you back. Thank you.
Jerry Glanville, the defensive coordinator under Lehman Bennett, returned to Atlanta as head coach in 1990.
Great to be back. Wish I never left. I know. Thank you. That's how we feel.
A year later, the Falcons were back in the playoffs, securing their first postseason victory in 14 years.
Haynes, touchdown, Michael Haynes. We're so excited for everybody.
While the Falcons struggled to establish a winning identity, the Cowboys' 1980 playoff win over Atlanta propelled them to their 3rd NFC Championship game in 4 years. They would lose to the Philadelphia Eagles, the Cowboys' first defeat in the NFC title game since 1973. Danny White led Dallas back to the championship game the very next season. It was a dramatic contest whose legacy is the catch. Few remember the play that followed the catch. It can be argued it was this play that shaped history and defined careers.
Eric Wright catches Drew right by his collar with his fingertips, man. It was like Drew, I just knew he was going to tear away from him. But he made one heck of a tackle there because I just knew that we were going to win that football game.
The last 20 years, I thought if Drew had a tight jersey on, he would have scored.
It's just one finger of the defender catching Drew by his jersey to keep him from changing Danny's whole career, to where I think they would have been comparing him to Roger.
White's ascension to the revered status of Roger Staubach never happened. A 3rd consecutive defeat followed in the 1982 NFC Championship. To Cowboy fans and to some of his teammates, the truth was self-evident. Danny simply was not Roger.
It led to a decision that Tom Landry should not have made. There was a poll in the Dallas paper that some of the players said they'd like to see Gary Hogeboom in the game. Well, Tom went along with that.
He called me in before the start of the '84 season and told me that he thought it was in my best interest to start Gary Hogeboom. As I left his office, I said, Coach, you're the head coach, and I'm going to honor that decision, but I'm telling you, you're wrong.
That was the beginning of, I think, the deterioration with the Dallas Cowboys.
The Hogeboom era lasted 10 games. White regained his starting position and in 1985 led the Cowboys to another NFC East title. But to many, his fate had already been sealed. His legacy penned in indelible ink. He was the quarterback after Roger Staubach, the one who could not get the Cowboys to the Super Bowl.
Unfortunately, Danny White's not going to be remembered in the way that he should be remembered. He comes in replacing a Roger Staubach. Well, what happens after Danny White goes? We get a Troy Aikman, you know.
Danny had great games in big games and had great statistics and played the quarterback position as well as anybody. He didn't win championships.
He's going to always be overshadowed by Roger.
He has not ever gotten the credit that he's deserved as an outstanding NFL quarterback. Not just a good NFL quarterback, but an outstanding NFL quarterback.
Danny White played 13 seasons in the NFL on a playoff Sunday in 1981 in front of a hostile crowd. He was as good as it gets, a leader whose talent and resolve drove his team to victory.
Don't get me wrong, I would love to have won a Super Bowl or two, and we got close. But I don't know that as a player in the NFL that there was any game that meant more to me than that win against the Falcons.